Hi everyone, welcome once again to my channel. If this is your first time, you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, you're welcome once again. My name is Peter Isistele, and in this channel we'll talk about coming to school in North America, US, and Canada, how to secure scholarship and funding. So today we are going to be talking about, in the United States, how the funding and the scholarship works. And then I have someone with me who will be sharing his experiences about scholarship and funding in the United States. So I have with me here Joel Omage. Joel, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's get started. So maybe you can just share from your own experiences. So for the scholarships, for masters or PhD, do you just apply? Do you just go to their website and you see a link and just click on apply for the scholarship, or you have to get your admission first and then the scholarship comes with the admission? So how does it work in the US?
Yeah, in most cases, you just apply for admission.
Yeah.
Then scholarship comes with the admission in most cases, but there are exceptions. Because I've also seen a lot of people get admission without scholarship.
Oh.
And in that situation, they are confused on what to do. Usually, I've provided recommendation, like, okay, go ahead and send an email to either the graduate school or the department, requesting for scholarship. In some cases, they return that email with, okay, yeah, we're going to offer you scholarship, maybe partial.
Okay.
And in some cases, they'll be like, oh, no, there's no funding. But if you come this first semester, subsequent semesters will provide you with scholarship. But I think 70% of the time for graduate school, it comes automatically, admission comes automatically with scholarship or funding.
Okay, that's amazing. Someone asked me a question. He said, if I get scholarship, does that cover my visa application? Like, no, so you have to you have to sort all of those, visa application thing, yourself. You're going to get documents like the admission letter from the school, right? And if you have funding package along with your admission letter as well,
Sure.
that's also a plus. Yeah, that's the plus to your visa application. But the school won't cover that. So, or somebody was asking me if the professor you're going to be working with, is going to do your sponsor your visa application. I was like, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so let's assume you've gotten your admission and they said, oh, congratulations, you have funding. So how do they activate that funding? So like when you arrived, right? When you arrive or when you arrived in the US, so how did they do the funding? How did they work with tuition? Did they cover accommodation, or just how the breakdown?
Oh yeah, so yeah, that is a very good question, because the funding, first of all, usually is a reflection of the standard of living of that particular city. For example, in Nashville, you will discover that schools like Vanderbilt pay or provide funding in excess of 31,000 per year.
Okay.
Yeah, and it sounds big compared to other schools. It sounds big, but that is because housing is expensive here. Okay, it's expensive. So usually it's a reflection of both the accommodation. What they are giving you should cover your living expenses. What they are giving you should cover both accommodation, your fooding, and what have you. It should just be enough, and you still have some basic limits. Yeah. And to go back to your first question, when you come in, I think the first month, it's not just automatically activated. There are other things you need to do. You need to get your social security number. Of course, they will assist you with that. And I think in the next 30 days, you start getting your first pay. Then you are fully registered with the international office of the school and with the department. Everything is sorted out. Yeah, so that is how it works. And which other question did you ask again?
So I think you've answered most of them. So I think some people have asked me that question as well, so, but they have to be sure, right? Is it a full funding, partial funding, so that, exactly.
Good question too.
So when they give you partial funding, does it mean you have to be the one to, so you have to pay the other part by yourself if it's tuition or something?
Yeah, that is correct. You know, in many of the partial funding, they will be giving you stipends. The stipend is like, okay, every month they pay you a certain amount of money, but part of your tuition is waived. What that means is that you'll be paying part of your tuition because part of it is waived. In my own case, that was the case. So when I came in, they were paying me monthly, but out of my monthly stipend, I was paying the what is left from my tuition. Okay,
Okay.
and so yeah, that was partial funding
Mhm.
situation. You know, but I knew before I came that it was partial funding, and it's going to be in the document that you mentioned about that you take for visa interview. They call it I-20. It's going to reflect there. So if it's 100% funded, it also show because they usually segregate it. They will put family fund. In family fund, if it's 100% funded, they will put $0 there. So in other words, you don't have to provide anything when you come here. But
Okay.
if your family fund has some amount of money that shows that is the amount you need to come with when you are coming to the US, so that you don't get stranded here, stranded with accommodation or that thing, because they're going to be paying you parts, but the other parts you will take care of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is,
It's for partial.
yes, yeah. So which means if you come in, you have to kind of, be with something, some money, at least in the
Exactly.
first 3 weeks or 1 month, that will be able to sustain you. I know in my own case, anyway, in another separate video, we're going to be doing comparison between US and Canada, but just to share, in my own case, I came with the money wasn't much. So I have to tell the president in charge of scholarship, "Hey, my money is almost running out." So normally it takes about 3 to 4 weeks for them to get a scholarship activated. But because I kind of explained to
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
then within 2 weeks, everything I started getting my pay, right? So you can do it. You can always ask. One of the things I learned here, ask question, like always ask for, yes, if you know even when it comes to buying, when you are not already in the US or in Canada, you want to buy anything, even though there is no deal, sometimes just ask, right? Sometimes you might get an offer, and especially when you start to tell them, when you start to compare, like maybe, oh, you had a better deal somewhere else, and they're like, oh, okay, we can actually give you like a 20% off, something like that. But that's just off topic. So you always ask when you come to, in your university, always ask question to the, admission office, to the international office. They are always, willing to help you at every point in time. Okay, and so another thing is, so if you are, people also ask, whether they have to work maybe part-time or something while if you have full funding, right? So is it compulsory? Can they just survive, without doing any part-time work or something?
If you have full funding, in many cases you don't do part-time work because in the US legally you're only allowed to work 20 hours per week.
Yep.
20 hours per week, and you cannot exceed that during the summer. So during any semester, you can't work more than 20 hours. But for those who are on partial funding, it means that you don't really have much going in for you. So they allow you, to get extra work in, just to help support yourself. And the work you're going to do is going to be on campus. You can work as a reception, you can work in the library. So there are so many other jobs you can do. Yeah. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's very possible for you to work. But if you're on full funding in many cases, you're
Yeah.
already occupied, you're fully occupied. You're fully
Yeah, when you're on full funding, the expectation is higher. The expectation is higher because they're like, you are not worrying yourself about working, so spend all the time, do all the research, and get it done. But if it's partial funding, then I mean, this person have to kind of look for a way to supplement with their funds and everything. So always find out from the university, right? Always find out what kinds of scholarship opportunities they offer, and then always ask questions. You know, if there are things that are not clear to you with regarding the scholarship and visa, the scholarship process and how it works, you know, there's always going to be an email that you can always send to inquire about, you know, about something about the scholarship. And then, you know, check the city as well, right? You know, based on the cost of living as well. And one thing I always tell people, if a school offer full funding, you don't worry yourself about how much their tuition is, right? Because it's going to be covered irrespective of how much it is if you get full funding, right? So even though it's $50,000 or $30,000, and if you have full funding, it will definitely cover that, you know, tuition and also cost of living as well. Okay, thank you so much for coming to share your experiences, Joel. You know, so I know everyone that have watched this video to the very end, you've kind of learned about how. One more quick question before I go. So with research assistant, so do they pay you separately or is part of your responsibility? Do they pay you if you are doing like a teaching assistant?
So for teaching assistant, that is actually what the department is paying you for. So the money you get
Okay.
as a teaching assistant comes from the department, you know. But as a research assistant, most times people come in as teaching assistant and later on during the graduate program, they switch to become a research assistant. And then there's a change of funding. No longer the department that handles your funding, it is now switched over to your advisor or supervisor.
Oh, okay.
Because most people, they usually have grants, so they will not be the one. But you are working for them.
Yes,
As a teaching assistant, you are working for the school.
Yes.
The department and the school.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if your advisor wants to have you all to himself or herself, you are going to take over your funding responsibility.
Yeah, I like Memorial University's style. Is so amazing. My way I did my master's. If you normally every student, you know, you're already on base funding, you know, there's a minimum funding. And then if teaching assistant position comes out, what they do is they send out the email to say, hey, these are the number of courses that are available for apply. So when students apply, what they do is that they shuffle, you know, all the graduate students in the department so that at least people have equal teaching assistant, you know, responsibilities. And then that is like an added money, you know, it's not added to your base funding. So it's like a separate, it's like you're employed, you know, so that's how the system was. So you don't have to, you know, yes, you don't have to do, you don't have to do TA to maintain that base funding. So that's how that works. Okay, thank you so much, Joel. Thank you for coming. You know, really appreciate you taking all the time and effort. So if you are new to this channel, just do what to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and then share as well. And if you have any other questions, you know, do what to leave the comments, you know, the question in the comment section, and then whenever we try to address